ABC's national correspondent Terry Moran at the Supreme Court with a look back at Justice Ginsburg's life and legacy. Terry, good morning.
Good morning, Whit. And what a life it was, what a legacy it was. The flags here at half-staff, people still gathering here in the just after dawn light at the Supreme Court. Justice Ruth Ginsburg, one of those Americans, and there aren't many really, who through force of character and her brilliant intellect was able to expand our understanding of those bedrock constitutional ideals, equality and liberty. She was born into a very different America where liberty and basic opportunity and human dignity for women look very, very different than they do today. And that change came about in large part because of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Her character, her intellect, her fierce determination to see the words equality and liberty made real for Americans changed America. Overnight, crowds gathered on the steps of the Supreme Court to mourn the passing of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg at 87 years old. So many young people there saying goodbye to a most improbable pop icon. Ginsburg dealt with complications from metastatic pancreatic cancer. She spent her last moments surrounded by family at her home in Washington, D.C. Tributes pouring in overnight. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi writing, "Every woman and girl, and therefore every family in America, benefited from her brilliance." Bill Clinton, the president who appointed her, saying, "Her landmark opinions moved us closer to a more perfect union." Ginsburg's life was astonishing.
Justice Ginsburg,
barely 5 feet tall, a diminutive woman who fought through barriers of discrimination, became a giant of American law and American life.
All I ask of our brethren is that they take their feet off our necks.
The notorious RBG, she came to be known by a younger generation, only the second woman named to the Supreme Court, serving there for more than a quarter century. Her path to the highest court in the land was not easy. As one of the few women at Harvard Law School, she faced discrimination later after graduating from Columbia in the 1950s.
She was one of 9 women in a class of 500. She was tied for first in her class. And the big New York City law firms just weren't hiring women.
So Ginsburg turned to civil rights law and engineered a brilliant legal strategy, arguing and winning 5 cases before the Supreme Court, fighting discrimination against women in the workplace and elsewhere in society. Ginsburg went on to serve as a federal appeals court judge in the nation's capital until that life-changing nomination by President Clinton in 1993.
I am proud to nominate for Associate Justice of the Supreme Court Judge Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
The Senate confirmed her in a sweeping 96-3 vote, and she quickly began making her mark in historic cases, including the 1996 case, which struck down the male-only admissions policy at the Virginia Military Institute, opening the door for women to study there.
I know that there were some people who did not react well to the change, and my response to this was, wait and see.
While on the Supreme Court, Justice Ginsburg was a consistently liberal voice on issues like voting rights and abortion.
This is something central to a woman's life, to her dignity. It's a decision that she must make.
She lived her ideals, too, becoming the first Supreme Court justice to perform a same-sex marriage ceremony. Her tenure was not without controversy, but Justice Ginsburg won the respect of many conservatives with her grasp of the law and her forcefully crafted opinions. On the court, she formed an unlikely, long-time close friendship with a strong opponent, Justice Antonin Scalia. And as the court shifted to the right, her fierce dissent echoed across the country, and her story inspired generations.
25, 24, 23.
From her fitness routines to her famous collars she'd wear in court. With the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, an era comes to a close here, an era where liberals and progressives in America look to this court to help work social change. That is likely over. What the next era looks like will be very different one way or another, but first, there'll be a battle for it. Guys?
Terry Moran for us there. Thank you so much.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.